Yeah, it is time to get hooked up again and hit the road with Camping with Katie. Right here at the end of September, beginning of October, we're headed up to DeSoto State Park. It's only about an hour and a half drive for us, and looking forward to getting up there with some friends. And so as soon as we can get out onto the road, we're going to be headed that way. And man, we've got a lot of things planned. It's going to be well, it does happen to everybody, breakdowns. And so after spending a little while on the side of the road, we had a friend come, and Mr. Kenneth came, left work in the middle of a Wednesday, and helped us tow Woofy up to the DeSoto State Park campground. And instead of having video from this trip, I'll cut in some video here from our previous trip. We still don't know what happened with our truck. We suspect an electrical issue, and we've made a couple of minor changes to see if that will ferret out the problem, but it's really a gremlin. The Mo from Mo's Auto looked at the truck and said, well, we don't really know what's wrong, because when he got in it the next morning and turned the key, Oscar cranked up and ran like a top. So we replaced the battery, replaced a fuel pump relay, hoping that maybe one or both of those solutions has gotten rid of our gremlin, but we really do not know what has happened and what's caused Oscar to behave in such a way. So we made our way to the campground, and this time we were in the same loop, but on the other end. Before, I think we were in site 3 or 5. This time we were in site 35, and had a campsite just across the street from our friends, and so that worked out great for us. Cool things about camping is camping with friends, and so we got a great opportunity to be with the Carsons again and get to do some things we don't normally get to do, not just playing with people's new trucks and playing board games and riding bikes while towing kites, as you'll see here in just a second, but we'll get to do some adventuring as well. So what are y'all doing, Meredith?
We're taking the kite and tying it on to something on our bikes, and then we're going fast and we turn it on. And we stop on one of these campsites, and then it flies while we're going fast.
Wonderful. The whole time you camp really is an adventure. Even at night, you get to see things like these walking sticks. But the next day, we headed out to one of the trails there, the Neverland Trail. Thank you, Chris, for showing us the way. And we walked through the pathway, and it's a pretty good trail, fairly easy, I would say, as far as walking goes, fairly clean. and get to see a lot of stuff. A lot of the older growth forest, even though it is up on top of the mountain, so the trees are not, as big as they are down in some of the other forested areas. But it is interesting to see the different ground covers and the different flora and fauna. And they manage this property pretty well so that you don't have a lot of buildup, don't have a lot of fire hazard. So they take care of all that stuff here in our Alabama parks. We're thankful for our park services here in our state. But walking along, we got to see a lot of different flora, and I'll give you some of those pictures here, as well as some fauna mixed in. Back up in the woods, there is, besides berries, there's an old homestead and even an old well, and they've got it kind of closed up there, got a concrete lid across the top, but you can see down a small hole in the middle. We checked to make sure Timmy was not in there, and since Lassie wasn't around, we knew he probably wasn't. Found a geocache there as well. And as you're adventuring and camping with friends, you find that the forest that you walk through tells a story. All the different trees, the way that they've grown and been bent and shaped, it makes you wonder sometimes what has happened to cause things to be the way that they are. Strange fungi or even tortoises on the trail. It is just a fantastic thing to do, to get out and meet the red-eyed box turtle, eastern box turtle, and all that God has made. Fairly relaxed hike that day. We did get to have fun with friends, and again, that's what it is all about. And kind of disappointed that we didn't get to see the Alabama white thing. The next day, we would drive around the Little River Canyon and the scenic rim road there, and find places to perch, giant rocks in the road, and some of the sights there. But had just a great time. A lot of fun up at DeSoto. The weather was gorgeous. Temperature was fantastic. Cool in the evenings. Cool enough for fire and for s'mores and for eating outside and all those fun kind of things. And we did also discover possibly the largest waterfall in the world. Many of the waterfalls are kind of slow this time of year. But again, just had a great time, a lot of fun adventuring. One of the great things you get to do when you're camping with your buddies is you get to have time to talk. And so here's an interview with Lindsay Carson, Lindz, who does the Oddly Adulting podcast.
Is that? That's right. You got to know where your speaker. You got to know where your speaker blows out. Do you need me to cough? That's how I always start when I'm testing my podcast. I'm like, in case I have to cough in the middle, because I'm not going to edit it. If I cough, it's just going to be in there.
All right. So,
all right.
Hey, y'all. Welcome to Camping with Katie. This is Lindsay Carson. And
my child just crashed.
Sorry. There was a bike wreck in the background, but everybody's good.
We
are currently at DeSoto State Park, which is in Fort Payne, Alabama. This is not DeSoto Caverns. This is DeSoto State Park that is a part of DeSoto Falls, Little River Canyon, and all that good stuff up in Fort Payne. Lindsay, how long have y'all been camping?
We have been camping, I believe this is year 10 for us.
Okay.
Because our oldest was 3 when we started camping, and she'll be 13 this year.
Okay. Very cool. So they have a lot of years on us. Gotten a lot of tips and tricks from Lindsay. They have done 2 or 3 cross-country.
Only 2.
Okay, 2 cross-country tours, and they did them with friends. And so that's what we're going to talk about today is camping with friends. Tips, tricks, things to know, things to be aware of. This is our second trip together, and I have already put into use some of the things that I've learned from Lindsay, even camping with my parents a few weeks ago. So it was really cool. So, what's your first thought when it comes to camping with friends?
Well, my first thought is that, you know how you have friends that you can do like day-to-day stuff?
Yes.
Daily life kind of stuff, but you would never go on vacation with them.
Yes.
So I would say know thyself. Like, what kind of a camper are you? Because if you're like, this is one of the reasons that we mesh really well is that we both like slow mornings.
Yeah.
We don't want to have to get up and be like, go, go, go. We don't really feel strongly about having an itinerary or like a schedule or anything like that. So it's a good idea to kind of think ahead, like, do we mesh well as far as that sort of thing? Because most of the rest of the stuff, like when you're coming up with a destination or all that kind of other stuff is fairly flexible, but it is, I think that's the most important thing. If you know that you probably don't vacation mesh with someone, it's probably not a good idea to go camping.
And the other part of knowing yourself is knowing your kids.
Yes.
The first time we went camping with them, and you can go back and watch the Montesano video, I don't think we got on camera the moment that the 6 of our kids met. But Lindsay's kids mirror my 3 kids, with the exception of our bottom 2, which are like just a few months apart. And so it was the standoff at the OK Corral for a few minutes. It's like, never met these people. How is this going to work?
They were already there, and they were already set up, and so we get there, and we're doing the husband and wife back the trailer in thing, and the kids are still locked in the car because that's the safest thing for them. And then we finally were like parked, and they were still in the car. So you guys can get out. Come on out. And so they like all got out, and then they just stood there. So the kids had only ever met one other time, right? It was that one time that we breezed through town and we were at your house for like 2 hours.
Yeah. So, which they were like, who was that?
Right. So we're telling them, we're going camping with the Fordhams. Remember them? Yeah. And they're like, no.
No.
Like,
no.
Remember, there's the 2 girls and they have that. No.
Yeah.
But finally last week, Meredith said, oh, I finally did remember them. I'm so glad because now we're going on our second camping trip with them. So.
Yes. But what's funny is they have meshed so incredibly well, especially the younger 4. The girls FaceTime each other usually once a week.
At least.
If they can get away with it. And Micaiah and Rory, top 2, will tolerate each other.
They're in that cute, awkward teenager phase.
Yes.
Where it's like, they probably just want to fight, but they're being polite.
Yeah, they have done really well, especially putting up with the little ones teasing them.
Yes.
But outside of camping, they don't communicate.
Yeah, no. Mm-mm.
They tried.
Yeah, they did. I think she called him to wish him happy birthday.
Yeah, she wrote him a letter.
Oh, yeah, she did write him a letter. That's
Yes,
right.
but
yeah.
it ended very quickly after that, which is fine. No big deal there
Yeah.
because they get along when we camp.
They get so they have been spending their time. We have some board games and stuff that we brought. They've been
Yes.
playing checkers, Battleship,
riding their
riding
bikes.
bikes. They've been very nice about taking the little ones on longer rides around the campground, and
Yes,
it all works out.
Yeah.
They like being the oldest, you know.
they like that
It's fun.
privilege.
Yeah.
They get to go further on their bikes.
Yes.
But think about your kids, because if your kids don't get along, it's going to be a miserable trip.
It's not going to be fun.
No, it's not.
Mission. What about what's the best part of camping with somebody versus camping alone?
Your kids are entertained.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. So Sam's question was, what's the best part of camping with somebody versus camping alone? For me, it's adult conversation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And the kids have something to do and they're not always, Mom, what are we doing? Where's this? What can I do? I'm bored.
Yes.
So that is it for me.
That's a huge one. And I would say really the other one is that the way that we have planned camping trips, and I learned this from another family that we camp with, is that we split up the meal schedule.
Yes.
We split up dinners.
Yeah.
And so one night I just get to show up with my chair and sit down because Katie has made dinner. It's all
Yes.
made. I just show up and eat. Now I still offer to help, but usually, most of the time we don't really need help because we plan
No.
stuff that's easy. And then the next night she gets to do the same. I make dinner, she shows up. And then tonight we ended up with 3 nights, and we're each making a pot of soup.
Yeah.
So I like that we have also, and the kid thing made me think of this, I like the shared adult responsibility of watching the kids.
Yes.
Rather than being the only mom on duty. There's 2 moms on duty.
Yes.
2 dads on duty, and 4 sets of eyes watching the kids. And so that, I think, allows them to have even more freedom, because
It does.
when it's just the 2 of us and our kids, we are kind of having to be eagle eye the whole time. So
Yeah, and that's a big thing. And when your car breaks down, like it did on this trip, which we'll talk about later.
Mhm.
Sorry, there was a child come sliding in on her bike.
She's coming in hot.
She was coming in hot. It was a pretty good slide too. When you have someone that carries all of his mechanics tools, it's very helpful because he can help make adjustments to things that the garage couldn't find. So that's another benefit of having friends with you when you're camping.
Yes. And we certainly have learned that lesson. We learned it in a big way on our most recent cross-country trip when our car broke down for real in New Mexico. We were driving back from Colorado. We were on the first day of a 3-leg to get home.
Mm-hmm.
And we were only passing through New Mexico, but basically we blew out our rear end on our car. And our friends that we were traveling with, we were caravanning, and so of course we pulled over, they pulled over right behind us. They ended up being able to tow us to the campground while our car was being towed to the mechanic, deliver me to get a rental car. So having that like backup help right there
Yes.
is a huge benefit to planning a trip with friends.
Yes, it is.
All right, that's your best things. And obviously, you don't want to call any names or bring out specific details.
We won't name any names.
No.
But what is a downside to camping with friends?
Downside to camping with friends.
Or is there one?
Yeah, I think well, the first trip out is the most dangerous because you don't
Yes.
know how it's going to go.
Right.
So I've been nervous every time we've done a camping trip with someone else because what if it's terrible?
Yeah.
And then but what if they love it? Like what if only you have a terrible time
Right.
and they have a great time, and then the next time
do
they're
it
like,
again.
we have to do this again. How about next month? And then you're
No.
going, how about that? There's an idea.
Yeah.
Haven't actually had that happen yet. I'm reflecting on we've camped with a few families, and I'm not thinking that we haven't had it go so badly that we wouldn't do it again.
Right.
But we have come away from it thinking a particular type of campground would be best, or
Right.
a particular type of
Yes.
destination would be best for that. So I would I think it's probably just schedules. You know,
Yeah.
everyone's kind of on a little bit of a different schedule, just your
Right.
in general.
Yeah. And I think one thing that works for us, I'm up at 6 o'clock every morning regardless, but we're able to do enough of our own thing that our feelings are not hurt if we're
Right.
not together every single moment of the day.
Yeah, that's important to be able to do.
It is. You need to be able to say, I need space, or hey, I'm just going to go chill.
Yep, I'm
They
going to go
all
take a
ate
nap in
lunch.
the hammock.
Yeah, they ate lunch and Katie took a nap in the hammock, which was very much needed.
Which was totally fair because yesterday I was like, I'm going to go take a shower. I was gone for an hour. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But those are the benefits of having multiple sets of eyes on the kids.
I can't think of another. What would be another? I really think it's probably just if you don't realize that you're not going to mesh and then you like figure that out
Yeah.
on the way, like while you're there. And
Yeah.
then you're stuck for several days
Days.
together.
Yes.
But I guess another would be just that if someone has to cancel, then you have to go by yourself, and then your kids are super disappointed. This
And that's
is why
what went through my mind.
we typically, I mean, for the longest time, now that our kids are getting older, we can't get away with this as much, but I used to not tell them anything until it was happening.
Yes.
Like, good morning, guess what? We're going camping with your friends. And
Yeah.
everything was a surprise. Then I discovered that one of my children really hates surprises, so I'm trying to dial back on that. But for the reason that we learned that anytime we told them that something was happening, and then for whatever reason that could not be controlled, it got
Right.
canceled, then people are devastated. So
Yes.
I will say this: sometimes we do get out on a camping trip by ourselves, and they do say, "I wish our friends were here," and then my feelings are hurt because I'm like,
You don't love me.
Don't you want to camp with me?"
Yeah.
You know? So
Yes.
they will start to prefer camping trips with their friends.
Yes. I think one of the biggest tips that I've come away with is the meal thing. And that's just nice, again, to have a night off.
Yes, and the reason that Jennifer suggested it was that if you're planning a meal together, it's like who brings the burgers and who brings the buns and who
Right.
brings the chips and who brings the ketchup and who
Right.
brings the drinks and who brings the cups, and it's like, oh, my head's gonna explode.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a whole lot easier to just plan the whole meal.
Yes.
Then you know everything you need down to the forks,
Right.
and you just show up.
Yeah. And like tonight, we're both doing soup, but that's very simple. She has hers, I have mine. We have our own dishes.
Yep.
Not a big deal. Which I heard y'all talking about, and we should be good.
Okay, we have enough cups.
Enough cups and
Okay.
bowls, we should be good.
I planned hot cider and didn't bring any cups for hot drinks.
Yeah, I think we'll be good. But yeah, I think there's been a lot of benefits for us.
Mhm.
It's been neat to rekindle a friendship.
Mhm.
Sam and Chris were best friends in high school, part of a trio. Tim and Jennifer were supposed to be with us, but COVID.
Yep, thanks, COVID.
They're not sick, but they were very directly exposed. And it's been neat to see the friendships blossom in our kids and to give them more friends and friends from families that we trust. And that's just really cool.
Yeah. It'll be fun because we intend to, like, you know, grow old camping with Sam and Katie.
Yes.
And then the kids, hopefully, wouldn't it be so cool if they all grow up and they all start going camping together?
that would be neat.
And we can all camp and we can all camp together and we can just rent like a whole row.
There you go.
Be like, I need to rent the
That would be
entire row.
interesting.
We could rent that whole, in this campground, we could rent this
We could
whole
all
row
center
right
section.
here. Everybody has a
that would be
pull through.
hysterical. That would be hysterical. Because, yeah, that would be 8
Wouldn't that be
sites.
fun?
Wow.
Yeah. We told him that,
That would be intense.
we intend to drive our trailer as with our cars, which we're trying
Yeah.
really hard to drive the wheels off our cars, but we intend to drive the wheels off this trailer.
We
And
did
we
that.
told
You
'em-
don't want to do that again.
That's true. We told him, we said, whichever one of you gets married first, we'll give you the camper as your wedding present. And they were like, yay! And then I said, but there's a hitch. You have to let your sisters camp in it with you.
Oh.
And me and Daddy are going to get a new camper, a new fancy camper that no kids can camp in. And they were
Oh,
like,
wow.
wait, what?
Yes. There you go.
That's all I had.
Okay.
That's the stuff. I'm trying to think if there's any other I really can't. I really can't think of anything else. So, yeah, it's just nice to be able to relax
Do whatever.
and let the kids entertain themselves. And
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, one other thing that we have learned to be very successful is a good set of walkie-talkies.
Yes,
Our
that's just
kids
good for camping with kids in general.
It is, but because they each have a partner,
Mm-hmm.
they can go off in pairs as long as they have a walkie.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the littles have smaller boundaries than the bigger ones, but good sets of walkies are a great investment.
Yep.
Well, that sums up our trip to DeSoto State Park. We're glad that you came along with us for the adventure. And there's a lot of beautiful scenery up there, especially, November's kind of peak season as the leaves are changing. But great time with friends. Hope that you'll join us on our next adventure. And we're looking forward to it and have no idea what it's going to be. So join us when we get there. Like, subscribe, and wait for the next adventure. Or make one yourself. God bless.